beautiful people. Welcome to Love Origins, where we hear people's real life stories of romantic, platonic, familial, and self love. I'm your host, Candace Spencer. Today's episode is a very special one. They're all special, but I always have a particular reason why I'm excited about each one. On this one, I'm excited because we have Molly Barlowe, author Molly Barlowe of some books that have emotionally wrecked me, but are amazing. And so I'm very excited to talk to her on the podcast today. Molly, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. So please introduce yourself and share whatever you think is important to know about you.
Well, again, I'm Molly Barlowe. I'm an author. I am a single mom of an 11-year-old who might run in here at some point. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about it. I am a Christian, which again might come up at some point. So, yeah, it's me.
Awesome. Okay. So tell us about younger Molly. What was she passionate about? What was she focused on? What was her jam?
Not books at all. Like,
Really?
I hated reading.
Are you kidding me?
No.
What?
I was big into sports and musical theater, and I would do anything to get out of reading assignments. So yeah, that was me. I actually didn't start reading until I was like 2021. I just didn't want anything to do with it. So yeah, younger Molly was not like this Molly at all.
Okay. That was such a plot twist. Like right out the gate. Like, okay. Okay, so wait, did you find it boring? Was it just like hard? Like why didn't you like reading?
Yeah, no, I found it extremely boring. I
Okay.
So what ended up happening is I realized that it was just the stuff that was given to me was not anything that I was interested in. And so when again, it was like 20 or 21, I I got this job, and the owner told me, or I guess manager told me, you need to bring books with you because you're going to just be sitting here for a long time waiting for the phone to ring. And I was like, no, like I don't like reading. But right then was when the first Twilight movie came out. So all the Twilight books were on sale along with the DVD. And I was like, well, I guess I'm getting these, which one of my friends had actually tried to get me to read it when I was in high school. And I was like, no, thanks. So I ended up becoming obsessed, read all the books 14 times in a row, which is kind of
Wow.
embarrassing. But I realized that's what it was, is I needed romance somewhere in the story to like capture my attention. And yeah, so after that, I was done. Like I kept reading, didn't stop, started writing. So, but yeah, before that,
Okay.
it was just people kept making me read books that didn't have romance.
Okay. Was it like the classics of like I don't even know. I've been out of school. I've been out of school for so long. But like I don't know. Like the 1984 or like the things are like the classics but can be kind of boring, like stuff like that, and you're like, nah, not my thing.
Yeah, and like I remember specifically All Quiet on the Western Front, which
Oh my gosh, that book is so boring.
I liked the movie. I can watch those as movies. The book was really, I struggle bust through that so hard.
I've loved reading for a long time, but that book I distinctly remember being like, this is dry. It is dry. This book. Okay, wow. So you hit 21 and a whole new world of reading. So now you're about it. Okay, cool.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how I don't want to go straight into being an author. We're going to come to that. What are two key moments that shaped you to who you are today? Because you said today Molly is very different than younger Molly. So how did we get here to today Molly?
Um, that's such a great question. Probably one was when I moved to Texas. I moved away from my family, and it was when I moved here with my first husband, or like my ex-husband. I don't have a bunch of husbands, um, and that was just like such a big thing because I moved away from everybody I knew. It was just, you know, him, me, and like his parents, his family's here. He has a small family. So it was just a huge thing because it was like massive transition for me, and I think if I wouldn't have done that, I would have never started writing.
Hmm.
Um, because it just like that opportunity wouldn't have been open for me. I see my life would have gone a much different route because I had plans to do other things. Like I had plans to be a missionary. And so I just my life would have been massively different. Um, and then also, um, I think more recently, I had been I know we will get back into like being the author, but um, I had been going down like a totally different path with being an author. Like I wrote spicy romance for 12 years and I tried to justify it like even as being a Christian. Like I was like I'm okay with what I'm doing. Um and so just like not realizing like I was totally living for the world and doing things that I wasn't supposed to until I was very convicted by that in a very brutal way, which I'm grateful for. And so I it just totally changed what I was doing. It changed obviously what I was writing. And yeah, I don't know. So what like how I was living and how my career was just like a few years ago to how it is now is like massively different. I feel like my entire life is massively different.
Wow, okay. Because of that particular conviction, or that plus the other things that happened over the last couple of years?
No, well, I would say that particular conviction.
Okay. Okay.
Things just happened to change in the course of those years too.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the first thing, because wanting to be a missionary is a very particular path a lot of people don't tend to go on. How did you decide you want to be a missionary? What was that path?
I don't know. I really loved working with kids. I had worked with kids when I was in high school, in like inner city um, ministries, and so I did that all throughout high school, and I just knew that that was something I wanted to do. I was really like heavily leaning toward Japan, like to the point like where I took Japanese for 2 years, but I also had a
Okay.
heart for Africa, and somehow in college ended up in Russia instead. So, you know, somewhere in
Okay.
between. But I actually was majoring in intercultural studies at Barlowe, which is a Christian university. Um, so yeah, no, that was my path. That's exactly like where I thought I was going to end up. But you know, met a guy, followed him to Texas, didn't end up doing that. So now I'm
Okay.
here.
What's funny is, I know you know Brianna. There's a point in her story with her and Lawrence where they were also like, "Should we be missionaries too?" And I'm like, "Is everyone?
He's
Is that a
told me
trend
that.
here?" Yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Huh, interesting." Okay. All right. So California to Texas. Instead of being a missionary, we then kind of get into writing. So let's just go ahead and go there. How did we get into writing from being a
Mm.
missionary?
So I have very vivid dreams, and they're fun. Sometimes they're kind of off the wall, but like to the point like where I can still remember like in extreme detail dreams that I had 20 years ago. And so sometimes they are like so distracting that I can't think of anything else but them. And I was at that same job, the one that was like bring books. Um, and I was driving to work like with the radio off, which is huge for me. Like if anyone knows me, I have music playing all the time, everywhere. So I was driving to work with radio off, and I was like holding the steering wheel like this, just with my face basically pressed against it, because I was so focused on these dreams that I'd been having, because I couldn't think of anything else. So I finally at one point was like, well, maybe if I just write out the dreams, I'll be able to stop thinking about them and I'll be fine. So I did that. There were these three in particular. And then this one, I was like, well, I wonder what happened before the dream actually began. And I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't woken up yet. And so I just started building off them. And it was just like this fun thing that I was doing. Like I just kept building and building to the point like where please don't read the book because it's not, it's spicy. Um, but like if you read it, there are like parts where it's like, what are you doing here, Molly? Because I literally was just like that day, like, hey, this sounds fun. And I just like put like random things in there. But it was one massive document, like without breaks. There were like no chapter breaks or anything like that because I wasn't writing a book. I was just building off this dream. And it was like 144,000 words. It was so long. And so by the time I was done with it, where I was like, I don't think there's anything else to add, I stopped and I looked at my husband and I was like, I think I wrote a book. Like it was like that. Like for that 144,000 words, like I never once like considered that I was doing anything other than having fun with this dream. And so it just kind of went from there, like this process of like getting it ready by myself. Didn't even get an editor, which oh my gosh, that book still to this day needs an editor. Didn't do any kind of promotion and just made a Facebook account, made an Instagram, and somehow I still don't know how this one blogger found me like right before I published it. And so when I published it, I just put on there, I was like, hey, it's live. And that's the only post that I did. And so she bought it and she just spreaded the word and it just blew up.
Oh,
And
wow.
I don't know what happened. And so it ended up getting picked up by HarperCollins. I was getting calls from agents, and it just like kind of
What?
took life of its own. Yeah. And so I don't know, but that was that, and it was honestly like the craziest thing. But in like the meantime, like I was still like doing the same thing with like the other two dreams that I had like first written out. I'm like, I'm having fun with these. So those ended up being books 2 and 3. But yeah, so that's how I just and actually most of my books have started from dreams. And whenever I
Really?
like pick them up, I can remember like which dream it was, like what happened in the dream.
That's crazy and really cool. Even the Huntley Square series?
Even which one?
The Huntley Square series?
There's little bits in like one of the books, yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay, wow, that's really cool. I've never heard of that. Like, that's really cool. Okay, so you write the first book, you get called from HarperCollins. Do you then become a traditionally published author, and that's the route you go down? Like, what happens next?
Yes, I was with them for I think 4 years, and then got dropped.
Oh,
Uh, yes, after like actually on the day of like one of my books being published with them, and
oh,
which is I mean it was fine, but
okay.
it was also like a really big blessing to me because then I was able to go back to being self-published, and I as much as I really appreciated traditional publishing with them and appreciated them in general, being self-published is fun because you have so much more freedom.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been self-published since.
And you offer editing services as well. Do you edit your own books, or do you still have an editor for yourself too?
No, I have an editor.
Okay,
But yes, I do offer editing services.
cool. That makes sense. Okay, so you've been writing since 2012, I believe.
Yes, yeah, September
Okay.
1st.
No way. Okay, cool. Okay, so then let's talk about love and love stories and how you include love in your work. Because you mentioned romance is really what got you into reading. Everything else was like not doing it for you. So what kind of love stories, real or fictional, did you grow up with? And on I Love Origins, we talk about all categories of love, so platonic, familial, self, and romantic as well.
Well, my parents are like truly wonderful people, and they were, I think, really great people to watch. Every time my dad came home from work, like they would just like hug in the kitchen. He would just hold her for a while and just like talk to her, and I think that that was so fun to watch. I like I always knew like I want something like that, you know. Um, and Also, I was the kind of kid who I was never grossed out by boys at all. I did not go through like the boys are gross phase. I was always like, oh, there's a boy and he's cute. Like even when I was little, I was just always very, very interested in boys and that. Like everyone knew I loved love, like from little. Um, but what I think sold it for me, and this is not okay. I should say that now. I was 9, and my grandpa had just died, which is sad. But one of my mom's really good friends, had come over to like cheer all of us up. She was doing manicures for us, and she put on Romeo and Juliet, like the Leo DiCaprio Romeo and
Oh,
Juliet.
that's the best one though. I love that one.
So
That's a
good,
good
right?
one. Yes.
The best one. But I was 9.
Maybe a little too young.
So,
Yeah.
however, I was like obsessed from then on. I was like, first of all, enemies to lovers, yes. Like forbidden love, yes. And Leo DiCaprio, yes. Like, and I think like that just like solidified romance for me right then at 9. But
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of what like locked it in right there.
Fair enough. Okay, cool. Um, did you grow up with like close cousins or siblings?
Yes. I have 2 older sisters, and
Okay.
since I was the baby, I was the annoying one. However, my middle sister and I were like best friends for a very long time. And now I'm much closer with my older sister. Unfortunately, my middle sister and I do not speak anymore, which is
Oh,
a very
sorry.
sad thing.
Yeah, I'm
But
sorry.
and siblings, there's or cousins. There's so many cousins on my dad's side, and we were always all together. So yeah, family was very big for me growing up.
Nice. Okay. So familial love, Romeo and Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann version, which is peak cinema.
Yes.
Big influences for you.
Yeah.
Okay. How did that come into play when you decided to write stories of your own? Those impressions of love.
Um, I think really the only thing that translated was I don't always, but I love writing enemies to lovers or forbidden love. It's honestly my favorite. But I don't always have like really great families, and my family is very offended by this. They're like, "Are you trying to tell us something?" And I'm like, "No. No, I just think it causes necessary drama for the story." Um so no, and honestly, I've actually had people ask me. They've wondered if I came from like a really bad family because I tend to write like really dysfunctional families. I'm like, no, just again, I think it causes necessary drama. Um, but so no, that did not come over with my stories at all. Really, the only part of that did was the fact that I really like enemies to lovers or forbidden love.
Okay, that's fair. It's really funny. Your family's like, hang on a second now.
Well,
It's
and
giving.
my dad's like, the dads die a lot, like, and I'm like,
Like,
trauma,
wait.
dad. Like, we need backstory trauma. I'm sorry.
Yes, Disney did it so well. Disney never left a parent, like both parents alive, and it gave us the conflict we needed for the story.
Truly.
Yeah.
Sorry, dad. I love you so much, but someone has
That
to
is
die before the book
hilarious.
starts.
Wow. That's true. Yeah, that works. That does work. Oh, man. Okay, so I'm assuming, given how important romance was for you in getting into reading, not including romance was never an option for you. Like, it had to have a romance angle for your books.
Absolutely has to have a romance. Yeah.
Nice. So let's talk about the books that you write, and what that looks like kind of why you went in that direction, how you include love into there. Because I ain't gonna hold you. When I first read your book, I was like, oh, there's like mafia. We got like people dying. Oh wow, okay. Like, I wasn't really prepared, but I was here for it. So how did we get into? How would you describe the genre that you write, and why did you go in that direction?
Well, as Molly Barlowe, so far what people have seen is, I guess it's like a contemporary romance with suspense threads in it. I think that's kind of the best way to market it. Um, However, I will be going back to just straight romantic suspense, which is what I loved writing the most as my old pen name. um, but I have written just straight contemporary romance before, and which is fun for me. However, I really like that. Um, just that like wonder of what's going to happen, and also um, I love a good villain. and I love like a good guy who's like, I will burn the world for her, but like he's like good for her, you know? So I think that's kind of like what got me like onto that. Plus, we had some stuff that happened as a family that was kind of really sketchy. Really sketchy that like went on throughout my entire life. And I think that just like had this like constant like suspenseful thing going on throughout my life. And so it was just kind of like, oh, at one point you find out that it's not normal, but it was normal for me. And so it's just like it's just easy to kind of like just to do that for me. I actually like in some of my books, as my old self, I put a lot of the stuff that happened in there. So, but I found out kind of like in college that it wasn't normal. So
Okay.
anyway, we had a guy who was obsessed with our family and ended up in our house a lot when he wasn't supposed to be there.
You had
So
a whole family stalker? Like he stalked all
yes,
y'all?
yes, he had been obsessed with my mom since high school, and so it just continued on. But like when we were little, he would be in our house a lot. And then when we were older, he would just be outside looking through the windows, trying to get in them. So, or just looking at them just because. But he was just there like my entire life. Like to the point like where like the sheriff department was always like updating my family on it because they knew of like the relationship between us. So, I think it was just one of those things like it was just like a constant like that like feeling in your chest like oh my gosh. And so I don't know, I like grew up with that.
Wow.
And so I kind of like it's just kind of like a natural thing for me to like create that feeling again when I'm writing.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I promise I'm fine. Like I don't have like
I'm glad everyone is safe.
I don't have like trauma from him. I'm okay. It's fine. It was
Okay,
just
awesome.
it just seemed like a normal thing. Like I thought everyone went through that.
This man breaking into your house to come and be amongst your family? Wow. Okay, yeah.
Listen, I
Wow.
was young when that happened.
Fair
I didn't
enough. Okay. The plot twist we're on for this interview is it's fantastic. I love it.
have.
Okay. I did not see Family Stalker coming, so that's great. Okay,
Sorry.
so that makes it into your book. So the things that are not true, Dad's still alive. We love him. The things that are true, suspense from your life is what made it into the book.
Correct.
Okay, got it. All right. Um, it's hard, there's no smooth transition from that to where I'm going next. I'm just going to make that hard turn. And I'm actually going to take us backwards a little bit to the second big moment you talked about with the transition from spicy to closed door content. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. In whatever detail you want to share, what did that look like to decide to make that transition and kind of how that felt for you?
um to decide I just realized that I couldn't do anymore. Like after that year of conviction, I wasn't even writing anymore because I just felt like I couldn't.
Hmm.
um like every time I tried, like I was just like hit, like I was sobbing for like a year straight. And so I didn't know what I was supposed to do. Like I didn't know if I was supposed to even write anymore, but like literally all I thought of was writing. And so I finally got to the point where I was like, okay, I am going to still write. And then it was a matter of like, what do I write? And I still thought of like the same types of stories, but it was just like, okay, I'm taking away like all the explicit content. But once I like made that decision, I really felt like it was just the easiest decision for me. Like, okay, God, this is what you want me to do. Um, I think just before that, it was this like stubbornness of like holding on to like what I had been doing and what I was afraid to let go of. Um, but yeah, once I like came to the conclusion that I couldn't do it anymore, and I knew what I needed to do, I made the decision and I changed everything like that next day. Kind of went back and forth with my agent a little bit. She wanted me to stay the old me, which I understood, but also again, I knew I couldn't. So uh, So made that just, yeah, like it was like, it was literally the next day. But yeah, I don't know. But the content of my stories is basically the exact same. Like I haven't changed what I'm writing. It's only that I've taken out all the explicit stuff. So in that, I'm actually taking a bunch of my old books and I am taking out all the explicit content so that I can republish them as Molly Barlowe, because I'm bringing a lot of my old characters over because I wasn't finished writing their stories, or I had like spin-offs planned for them and I never got to do them. So I've actually already started introducing them, and uh, Candace is like, yes, I'm aware.
Yep.
And yeah, so I've had quite a few people ask if I ever plan on writing their books. I'm like, actually, they have books already. So yes, I am in the process of cleaning them up, and I will be republishing them.
Okay. I am low key looking forward to it. Also, low key not, because we talked about this. People be dying,
People
and I'm
be
gonna
done.
stop. And I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it. So,
Listen, it's mafia. You can't keep everyone alive.
but like you could though. You created this world. You could keep everyone. At least not certain people's important people.
Okay, but like I know I write fiction, but also there has to be like some level of reality in there.
Do they? Does it? Does it?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, because it's the mafia. Who doesn't? I don't actually know anyone in the mafia. It could be reality that they keep all the people alive. Because I don't know. I don't know anyone who's mafia adjacent, to my knowledge. Hopefully that's the case. I don't know. Anyway, I would so love to see people stay alive. Um, but what I find interesting about this, you talk about how you were writing before and how you are now as like two separate people, and it reminds me of when people kind of like accept Christ or get saved, like the old and the new. And is that how you're thinking of like yourself and your writing and like kind of like your journey in that way?
Yeah, that's interesting. I've actually never like thought of it that way, but when you said that, I was like, oh, that actually kind of hits. Um, yeah, I've never thought of it, but you're right. Like I don't like, I feel like I don't relate to the old me at all anymore. And so like when people talk to me, like even about my books, I'm like, oh, right. I don't even know how to respond to this now.
Hmm.
So it's very odd, and especially because it was like what, 12 years of writing for me and 30 books. And so
Wow.
it's it's very odd to now like feel like I just don't know that person anymore. So
Hmm.
yeah, I guess it is a lot like that. That's a very interesting way to put it.
It's just the way you were talking about it. I was like, it sounds like you have a clear distinction between who you used to be and who you are now. So,
Yeah.
okay. Wow, 30 books.
Yeah, it might have been 31. Something like that, 30, 31.
And do you plan to transition all of that over to Molly Barlow, or just some of it?
No, just some of it. There's some like almost half that's still with HarperCollins. And so that will stay with them. And then there are
Okay.
some that are just too inappropriate to bring over. Like I
Okay.
can't clean them up. Which is an unfortunate thing, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, covered a lot of ground. Let's talk more about your books and your pop culture tie-in, and why you include love in your work, which you touched on a little bit, but I want to go a little bit deeper. So your pop culture tie-in is going to be your most recent book called Even If We, and I'm like gathering my emotions for this. The book is called Even If We Last, and I love it. And it emotionally destroyed me, and I knew it would. So I was semi-prepared, but also not really. So tell us what that book is about, please, and then let's talk about it.
Okay. Um I'm gonna be honest. I think it's like really funny that it's everybody's favorite because I think that book was like the most difficult thing for me to write. Um, what this book is about is about these two people who have been best friends. They were both in ex special forces, or they are both ex special forces, and they've been working for this security company. Um, for who knows how long. I don't even know how long people have been there at this point. They've been there for a hot second. But they're best friends, and he just likes to rile her up, so he drives her insane. And she's very black cat energy, he's golden retriever energy, so they have that going for them. But he gets her in a way that no one else does, and at the same time, she's kind of secretly soft for him, uh, which is something that I think is wonderful. I knew from the first book that she was, but of course we don't get to see her at all in that kind of capacity. So I was waiting to show that in this book, and so that was really fun for me to like to finally have those moments, like so people could see like, oh wait, she like actually really just relaxes with him, and she is like a totally different person when it's just the two of them. Um, but it's really just this story of what happens when they wake up one morning in Aruba, married, thinking they drunkenly eloped, and the fallout from that. Um, because she's very closed off and guarded, and he's just trying to work through potentially losing his best friend and the only woman that he's ever really loved.
Okay, love it. Um, why was this the hardest book for you to write?
Because I got divorced during this. So I thought it was very funny that this book was called Even If We Last, because it was already titled. And
Well,
so my husband left me during this. And like very, very unexpectedly. It was a huge shock to me. But so I felt like every single time I went to go back to writing this, because I took a lot of breaks during it, I heard the cat.
you'll probably also see her tail at some point because
Okay.
she's making her way.
Um, but I feel like every time I went back to writing it, it felt like a totally different book for me. Like I don't even know what I've been writing. I feel like I'm in a different place now, and sorry, there's
It's
um,
okay.
and just yeah, it was like five different books by the time I finished. Like because there were just so many different like emotional like parts that I went through when I was writing it, because like I started it, I was probably like a quarter of the way through it when everything happened, and then it was like kind of this like shocked stage, and then this like numb stage, and then this like grieving stage, and then this like back to this like I don't even know like what kind of person I am right now stage of writing it. And this like whole like kind of weird thing, because again like you're going through this like the most difficult time of your life, but at the same time, again, I've always been that person who loves love, and so like I'm still like rooting for these characters. But trying to write it was wild. And so when it was done, I was like, I don't even know what kind of book I wrote. I don't know what's going on with these characters at this point. And good luck. Like so, so I was just expecting the book to tank. I was expecting everyone to hate it. And so every
Wow.
time someone's like, this is my favorite so far, I'm like, are we sure? Like, I don't even know what emotions I was feeling through like most of this. So are we sure?
Yes, we are sure. And that is crazy. Wow. So we talked about like the things you grew up with impacting how you view love. Going through divorce, I imagine, has a lot to do with how you see love. Does it? Do you think it will get easier from here to keep including love in your work now that you've made it through, even if we last, or do you think it would still be harder now that with your personal experience?
No, I think um I think I'm fine in that aspect. I was the kind of person that still like blasted 90s country, and you know, 90s country has a lot of sappy love things going on, and I was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Awesome.
and I have reason to be happy. I guess I should say. So, yeah, I think writing romance is okay with me.
Cool. I'm glad
I
to hear
think,
it. 'Cause I'm not
yeah.
right. So I'm happy that that's the case. Yeah, I know this for some people could feel like it can be an outlet that feels like something that keeps hope alive, or it could feel something that feel like something that could be a dampener. And so I'm glad it's the former for you.
Yeah.
Sorry, the cat's making her way around. Um, okay, so even if we last, it is funny that you're like, are you sure? Because when I tell you, so you do something called Work in Progress Wednesdays. A lot of authors do it. But every Wednesday, I was refreshing my Instagram, ready for it to see what the little excerpt was. When you gave us multiple excerpts, I was like, oh my gosh, the Lord has smiled upon us. Look at this. So I was really geeked for this book. My first book of yours was Even If We Fall. I think it's Chloe and Adam's story. And I have to go back and read Lady and Asher's story. But I really love that story at different moments in that. And I'm like, okay, so wow, you're just making your whole presence known on the camera. Okay. Um, Lost my train of thought. Dang it. That story was amazing. Loved it. But there was something about Friends to Lovers that I love personally. The the idea that she would be so closed off and guarded that only he could kind of like open her up. Like I love that element too of like you're everyone else is out, but this one person is in. I just loved everything about their story. Like I just knew going in I was gonna love them. And when I tell you I emotionally prepared to be devastated, I purposely planned when I was gonna read this book. So I could have my emotions together. I didn't have anything else to do with my life. So I could have it to just focus on this book. And I still was not prepared. Still was not prepared. It was amazing. And I don't read a lot of suspenseful things anymore. I don't think I knew your books were suspense when I first started reading them, but now I got in and I was like, well, now we're here. Now there's mafia. Now people are dying. We're gonna stay. I love it here, so it's great. But I just really I have loved your books. There are several moments that I love that I cannot say on camera because it'll be spoilers. But I messaged you about them, particularly one moment when you realize a key character is a important part of everyone's story and everyone's like losing their minds. I laughed so hard at that part. I don't know if it was supposed to be funny, but picturing it in my brain of them all like losing it was really funny to me. And I was like, man, comedy in the middle of realizing there's some really bad stuff going down in this moment. It was great. So yeah, for it to be a really hard book to write, it came out amazingly. Gotta tell you, I love it.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. My next question just fully left my head. So you mentioned romantic suspense. You have elements of suspense from your life that you're including. You've always been a fan of love. Is there any other genre you would consider writing that you feel drawn to?
Listen, if I could write fantasy, I would. That is where I love to be when I'm reading. That's my favorite. Um, I have tried for years to write fantasy. Uh, and when I say years, I mean like at least 10.
Okay.
So maybe more than that. Like probably close to like as long as I've been writing. Um, I can't. I am so terrible at it. I
When you
just
say, yeah,
no, like it's just it's bad. But I have like so many different drafts like saved that I've like started, and then every time I'm like, oh right, this is why I don't do this. Um, so no, I would love to. I would love to be able to because that's what I love reading. I just can't. So I think that's probably also a good thing because it is like literally my escape. Like I think books create escapes for people, which is a beautiful thing.
mm-hmm.
Um, and that is my escape, which is great because it's what I can't write. So,
Okay.
but if I could, that's what I would do.
Are you going for like high fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, or are you going for like I'm not even sure what is in between high and no fantasy, but I guess middle fantasy, which is less complicated but still some mystical elements there.
Yeah, like literally anything, or like kind of like what you're talking about. Like even if it's just like not this world, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just like even if there's no magic, but just not this world. I can't even do that because I'm like this is stupid, Molly. Like, what are you doing? I don't know why. It's like I just freeze when I'm writing, and like nothing makes sense anymore. Um, so I don't know, but no, not high fantasy. Like I absolutely could not do that. However, Lord of the Rings is a favorite. So
Yes, mine
good on
too.
that.
We do. We do. I'm still mad about the Peter Jackson ending though. For I recently watched the movies in last year, like all of them with my friends, maybe 2 years ago. I had read the books, I had seen the movies, I had not seen Return of the King. And I
Mm.
hadn't actually not read Return of the King either. But then we watched Return of the King, and I was like, that's not how that goes at the end when Frodo's going to go take the ring. Like, that's not what he does. So I went home and opened the book and was like, he says more things. You shafted him, and he looks crazy in the movie, but he said more things in the book, and it made more sense in the book. I think you made Frodo out to be crazy at the end. When had he had more dialogue from the book, it would have made more sense, the decision he made at the end. I feel strongly about that. Otherwise, the movies are fabulous. I love them. Yeah.
She has thoughts.
Always and forever. Always and forever. Okay. This has been great. I just want to make sure we hit all of anything else you want to talk about before we ask our last question.
No.
Okay. So, in our last question, which we ask for every episode, is why do you keep choosing love, both in your work and in your life?
Well, again, in my work, I can't read anything that doesn't have love in it, so I don't think I would be able to write anything that doesn't have love in it. Like it would be very boring for me. Like I need something to keep me going. Like it's just I don't know, there's hope in love, I think. And so I it's fun for me. I love the idea that's just like there's someone out there for you, and like even like the most like people like Mallory, like who she just thinks that she needs to be alone because of all the things that happen like with her family. There's still someone like Hudson for her. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
gonna see her, he's gonna get her. And so I love things like that. I love um just like creating these characters who are meant for each other. Um Even if they seem unlovable for whatever reason or things like that. Um as for my life, because um I don't know. I think life's really boring without love. I think I think love makes things just better. Um I think I think I think when you're in love with somebody it makes not life better, but it's just hmm. If you close yourself off to love, it's lonely. And so when you're in love with people, like it's you're able to share in things. And I don't like the idea of being lonely, and I don't like the idea of like closing myself off to that just because I was hurt in the past. So, yeah, I don't know. And
Yeah.
again, it's fun. It's fun like it's fun going through those feelings. So, yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. You mentioned you loved musical theater growing up. Are you familiar with Hairspray?
Yes.
Okay, I'm helping choreograph Hairspray for my friend's middle school theater group, and you said "Without love, life would be boring." And then the words to "Without love" from Hairspray immediately start rolling through my brain. I was like, "Oh my gosh, so relevant." So
That
yes,
was
I
great.
agree.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, without love, life is really boring. And I haven't had anyone share that particular take on it, and I appreciate that. Like, love does make life a lot more interesting and exciting and like brighter in some ways. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I think uh people might say that I have always kind of like fallen too hard and too fast, but again, I've always been okay with that. I've always said that God gave me a big heart to love people. And whether that's just like, whether that is in like the romantic sense or just like the capacity to like love strangers. I don't know. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, I love that. You said I'm gonna stick beside it. I'm with
Yeah.
it. I love that. Awesome. Well, Molly, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been really fun, and I've learned quite a bit about you, and I appreciate you sharing all of that. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Love Origins is produced by Candace Spencer, with music by Anthony Spencer of Noisy Dreads, LLC.